Before I do this, let me look up the definition of genocide. That's how you know it's going to be good, okay? The definition of genocide is the deliberate and systematic killing or persecution of a large number of people from a particular national or ethnic group with the aim of destroying that nation or group. Now, one definition I've seen, I forget which definition it was, of genocide is that it also refers to the massive displacement of a particular ethnic group. Now, the reason why I think this is relevant is because, you know, as much as I want to like Trump and as much as I've supported Trump in the past and I've voted for Trump numerous times, I think that he's made a statement here that sort of is more genocidal than anything we've seen from Bibi Netanyahu. There's a short video here. I'm not going to bother to watch it. But essentially, Donald Trump said, hey, we're going to take over Gaza and kick all the Palestinians out and, like, actually clean it and make it, like, a super, super dope and cool place that, like, people can come over and live in and, like, vacation here and things and have a lot of fun. Like, it's rubble. It's a mess. We need to clean it up. And, you know, to do that, we're going to need to kick out the Palestinians. And then later, bro was like, hey, and on top of that, we're not going to let the Palestinians back. They're going to be banished, never to return. I'm like, what? What? Now, Trump did later clarify that he's going to somehow, push out all these Palestinians without using U.S. troops. I don't know how he's going to do that. Of all the things that Trump has done during his presidency, I think this is the one that I sort of cannot really praise or excuse, I think, more than any of the other actions that he's done. Like, we're talking about literally kicking out all the Palestinians and not letting them return so that you can build it up and make it look really nice. Now, I've been talking to some people IRL, and they're more sympathetic to Trump's stance here. And I made this point. I was like, well, one of my goals, or one of the things I'd like to see in the Middle East with the Israel-Hamas war, as uninformed as I am, that's why I stopped making videos about the conflict, was I would like to see the like Gaza in particular be a lot, like the infrastructure be built out so that it's a lot more habitable. Like, yes, technically people can live there, but like, bro, the water ain't really desalinated. You know, you've got Hamas tearing up the running water systems that the UNRWA built for them so they could, like, launch rockets at Israel. Like, the country should be more self-sustaining than it is. Literally, Israel was able to flip a switch and cut out the lights in all of Gaza. That shouldn't be how things are run in Gaza, considering that Gaza is, I believe, an independent state run by Hamas. Completely different country. One country should not have autonomous control over the power of another country. Now, because Hamas is running everything, they're just going to take every bit of infrastructure that we send over there and use it to build more, stuff for the military to fight Israel and kill more Jews. So I understand why one would say, oh, we need to go into Israel. That's why, like, I think Netanyahu several months back was like, yeah, we're going to go into Israel. We're going to go into Gaza and we're going to rebuild and, like, send in troops. Like, some people were upset about that. I understood that because you need someone who's not Hamas and maybe not even the UN to go in and rebuild everything. I mean, the UN somewhat sympathetic to Hamas, which is why I think there is some danger in having them rebuild things, but it's better than doing nothing. Better than doing nothing. You can't trust Hamas to rebuild the infrastructure when they're the ones who tore it apart, to be honest. And so to one extent, I'm like, okay, I do like that Trump wants to make Gaza way nicer than it is. It sounds like he even wants Gaza to be nicer than Israel is. But at the same time, I'm like, can't you do that without displacing all of the Gazans? Like, people have done, like, rebuilding. Like, I think, aren't people rebuilding in Hawaii after that fire? I think people are already thinking about starting up rebuilding projects in California. Maybe you do need to kick people off. I'm like, at least can't you just, like, bring tents over? Have people sleep in the tents while we rebuild their houses? Or what you can do is, Gaza's actually not like the smallest bit of land in the world. Why not put all the Gazans in one side of the country rebuild the side that's vacant, then bring them back over into the place you just rebuilt, and then build up the other side. I feel like there's gotta be a way you can rebuild Gaza without kicking out all the Palestinians. I don't think that it's needed. But Trump decided that he wants to do this. Maybe he whispered into the ears of some of the more ardent or hardline or nationalist Zionists over in Israel when deciding to do this. And, the announcement certainly didn't seem to make Bibi Netanyahu particularly upset. I think in large part because it's like, those pesky Palestinians aren't going to be bothering us anymore, especially because they're probably not going to be a unified force because they're going to be split up across the other Arab nations in the area. But it's just unfortunate that Trump decided to do this. Now, maybe this was inevitable, right? Maybe it was inevitable for all the Palestinians to no longer be there. And being displaced like this is certainly better than being killed in war. A war that they started, but war nonetheless. So maybe this isn't even the worst possible outcome. But I think it's just sad and unfortunate. I would love to see the Palestinians just be able to live there and the infrastructure to be rebuilt. But it doesn't really seem like that's even necessarily what they want. It seems like they would rather die. They'd rather die than take what they have and build it up to be something better. So it's a shame what's happened. I'm not happy that Trump proposed this, even though it's not the worst possible option. I think it's just too close to genocide for me to get down with, especially when we've had folks on the left for years now saying that Israel is propagating a genocide against the Palestinians. And while this is not Israel propagating this potential genocide, I think that it certainly does still lend some credence to the claims that, this whole thing was genocidal and the whole point was just to eradicate the Palestinian people. Not that the people themselves are getting eradicated, but this culture is largely tied to how a group of people interact with each other, as well as their habits and their ties to like lands and traditions and things. So by uprooting the Palestinians, you're definitely going to be disrupting Palestinian culture in a very major way. I think it's very unfortunate. And I've been someone who's very vocally anti-Hamas. And many would say that I'm pro-genocide or whatever. They'd say that I'm anti-Palestine. I might think I'm like inhumane in my attitudes towards them. I thought that Asmongold was right when he said that the culture was backwards. I think that of pretty much all of the Islamic nations, not that every culture, not that there are perfect cultures, but I think that the way that Hamas treats gay people, the way that Hamas treats women, right when it comes to the rights that they afford, not a fan. I think I just don't like it. But that does not mean that they deserve to be wiped out or have all of their people moved or transplanted or whatever. Like, you could have a culture I don't like. North Korea has a culture I don't like, right? Where it's like, strict authoritarianism, isolating your people from the rest of the world and starving your citizens. Not a fan. I don't like that culture. I don't like those political policies. But at the end of the day, they have a right to run their country how they want, right? As long as they don't nuke us, we shouldn't be going in trying to change their way of doing things. Generally, I would say same thing with Gaza, although right now, of course, they initiated this war against Israel, most recently, the Israel-Hamas war. But yeah, those are my thoughts on it. It's a very sticky situation. It's hard for me to make like a clean declaration about what should happen because everything is so complex, but I don't like this policy. I would like to see Trump rescind this proposal, but I don't think that's what he's going to do.